Okay, so most of us grew up with this very specific, completely unquestioned script, right? Study hard, put your head down, work your tail off, stay loyal to your company, and financial success will just kind of magically follow. But if you're watching this explainer, you've probably felt that creeping, nagging frustration with the traditional rat race. You know the feeling, you're putting in the hours, you're doing absolutely everything right, yet that promised financial freedom just feels like a mirage. Well, today, we're breaking down a pretty wild core premise. That childhood myth of brute force hard work equals wealth is actually the exact thing keeping you financially stuck.
So, why doesn't hard work make you rich? I honestly want you to just sit with that question for a second, because it creates a bit of cognitive dissonance, doesn't it? I mean, look around. Many of the absolute hardest working people in our society, folks putting in 60, maybe 70 hours a week, remain completely trapped in a cycle of pure financial survival rather than ever actually achieving freedom. Now, don't get me wrong, effort is essential, for sure. But as we're going to see, effort without the right strategy, that's just a treadmill.
Here's our quick roadmap for this explainer. We're covering the hard work myth, the Red Queen trap, the quitting paradox, escaping sunk costs, moving from labor to leverage, and finally, creating your blue ocean. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The hard work myth. Breaking the correlation-causation fallacy.
Whenever you ask a really wealthy person how they became successful, what do they usually say? Oh, I worked hard. But assuming hard work is the actual cause of their wealth is a massive correlation-causation fallacy. It's a total trap. The root of this misunderstanding basically comes down to labor versus leverage. Labor is strictly capped. I don't care how much grit you have, you still only get 24 hours in a day to trade for money. Leverage, on the other hand, is scalable. It means building systems, deploying capital, or creating products that work entirely independent of your daily physical effort. Wealthy individuals focus intensely on building leverage, not just maxing out their labor.
So the crucial takeaway here is understanding how this linear income trap practically guarantees diminishing returns. When you only trade time for money, your incremental salary bumps are instantly eaten by the heaviest tax burden out there, employee tax, and of course by inflation. Plus, working too many hours creates time scarcity. You literally destroy the energy you need to learn investing or build scalable assets. And then there's the consumption trap. This is where you feel like you've worked so incredibly hard that you deserve to treat yourself to that oversized luxury SUV or, a $4,000 espresso machine. You end up rewarding your effort with spending, not wealth accumulation.
Section 2. The Red Queen trap. Running fast just to stand still. This next concept borrows from evolutionary biology and Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. In the story, Alice realizes she's running as fast as she possibly can, but she's not getting anywhere. The Red Queen looks at her and says, "Now here, you see, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place." It's wild, but in business and in your career, matching your rivals' moves forces everyone to race faster, spend more resources, and work harder just to survive. Any competitive advantage you gain through sheer effort becomes frustratingly temporary. And there are three major drivers fueling this completely exhausting race: industry concentration, demand conditions, and market position. If you're operating in a highly concentrated industry or you hold a weak market position, you suffer the most. You're constantly forced to react to the leaders. That means you end up burning all your adaptive capacity and your financial resources just trying not to drown.
Section 3. The quitting paradox. Why winners quit strategically.
Society loves to tell us that quitting is for losers, or historically, for cowards. But we really need to look at the difference between grit and quit. Blind perseverance without a solid plan just wastes your precious resources on low-probability outcomes. Decision expert Annie Duke actually points out that strategic quitting frees up your capital and your time for opportunities with a much better expected value. Think about the tragic 1996 Mount Everest disaster. 3 climbers actually turned back before reaching the summit because they had a strict 1 p.m. turnaround time. They literally survived because they quit. Their guide ignored the rule and tragically perished. Quitting on time can quite literally save you.
To really know when to quit, you need this incredibly sticky metaphor from Astra Teller over at Google's Innovation Lab. Ask yourself, are you solving for monkeys or are you building pedestals? Okay, imagine you're tasked with training a monkey to juggle flaming torches while standing on a pedestal. It's an absurd, insanely hard task, right? Well, most people will build the pedestal first because it's easy and it shows visible progress to the boss. But the pedestal is just an illusion of progress. The intractable problem, the flaming torch juggling monkey that actually determines your success or failure, remains totally unsolved. If you can't train the monkey, the pedestal is completely useless. Do not build pedestals just to feel productive.
Because our natural optimism often completely blinds us to whether we're actually making progress, we need help. As the brilliant behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman famously advised, you need to find someone who loves you but doesn't care about your hurt feelings. Basically, you need a quitting coach. Think of legendary tech investor Ron Conway. He acts as a quitting coach for founders. He pierces right through their sunny optimism, forces them to look at objective, long-term truths, and helps them pivot long before they crash and burn.
Section 4. Escaping sunk costs. Overcoming psychological bias.
So let's talk about the sunk cost fallacy first. We tend to treat our past investments of time and money like a Katamari, that sticky video game ball that just gets heavier and harder to stop rolling the more you invest in it. Then there's the status quo bias, which is basically our default fear of change, and the endowment effect, where we irrationally overvalue what we already own. But the absolute most dangerous one, identity dissonance. Just look at Sears. They owned these wildly profitable financial assets like Discover and Allstate, but they stubbornly clung to their identity as a retailer. Actually, scratch that. It became their downfall. They sold off all their winners just to save the failing retail business, and it drove them straight into bankruptcy.
The ultimate antidote to falling into these psychological traps is establishing what we call kill criteria. These are predefined, highly measurable states and dates that you set before you ever start a project. It takes all the emotion out of the decision. You also use flexible unless clauses. Something like, I will shut down this side hustle in 6 months unless we hit $10,000 in revenue. It acts as a pre-commitment contract so you can pivot efficiently instead of letting your ego drive the bus.
Section 5. From labor to leverage. Stop trading time for money.
Step 1 here is a massive, and I mean massive, cognitive shift. You have to stop tracking the hours you worked and start tracking the unique value you delivered. Step 2 is building deep niche expertise and the authority to back it up so that the opportunities start coming to you. And step 3, you 10x the value of your time. If you have 10 clients paying you $2 an hour, find 2 who will pay you $20 and drop the rest. You drastically reduce your actual labor while maintaining or even growing your income. And suddenly, you get your time back.
And what do you do with all that reclaimed time? Well, you create a scalable online product that can literally sell while you sleep. You automate your customer acquisition. And critically, you scale by hiring. A great way to do this is using entrepreneur Chris Ducker's 3 lists to freedom. Just sit down and write out the tasks you absolutely hate doing, the tasks you shouldn't do because they're way below your pay grade, and the tasks you frankly can't do. Outsource those lists immediately. This frees you up to focus purely on the long-term strategy of your business.
Section 6. Creating your blue ocean. Exiting the hyper-competitive treadmill. To truly eliminate that Red Queen effect we talked about, you've got to stop obsessing over beating your rivals. Kim and Maborn's 6 Paths framework shows us that if you put competition at the center of your strategic thinking, you automatically enter the Red Queen race. Instead, you need to reconstruct entire industry boundaries to create brand new demand.
In the real world, this means jumping boundaries. Look at Yakult. They created a probiotic drink, totally jumping across the boundary of the food industry to compete directly with pharma. Or Lexus. They looked across strategic groups and offered Mercedes-level quality but at a lower-end price point. Novo Nordisk completely stopped marketing insulin to doctors and designed the NovoPen directly for the patient's convenience. And Subway? They flipped the functional fast food model into an emotional healthy lifestyle appeal. They created so much unique value that the existing competition became entirely irrelevant.
So, the absolutely crucial point we arrive at today is that wealth is an engine. It's a machine. It is not some happy accident of putting your head down and grinding away forever. Wealth requires intention, living below your means and actually delaying gratification. It requires process, automating your investments and savings so you don't even have to think about it on a daily basis. Build your leverage and let that engine work for you.
I want to leave you with this final, truly provocative question. What are you going to strategically quit today? Take a hard, honest look at your life right now. Drop those illusions of progress. Stop building pedestals. Apply kill criteria to your own personal Katamari of sunk costs. Step off the Red Queen's treadmill once and for all and start building true leverage. Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me.